Next. So this other portion of what I wanted to talk about is more of like an educational type thing, because I have noticed that there's some talk about world tiers, and I just want to make sure people are like on the same page with the facts. So let me get into my educational mode. Hold on. I'm going to show my screen. Watch out. We are here. There we go. So here is here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put this here. All right. So first and foremost, we need to have a talk about world tiers and like just some general information to start, and then we'll get into like the big discussion that is being had right now. So let me explain what is up on the screen. This was a screenshot, well, a video, but I paused it, of the world tier display that was showing right before the server slams servers went down. So I was able to capture this, and I want to just go over it really quick. So for those of you who don't know, there are world tiers in Diablo 4. These tiers, they can be changed at any time in the character select screen or from the world tier statue and Kyovashad. So pretty much when we beat Ashava the first time, we were on world tier 2 because there were only 2 world tiers, and we went down to world tier 1 to beat Ashava. This, like, if you were seeing a whole bunch of talk about this, this is what people were talking about, okay? Now, when you are on world tier 1, this is pretty much the bottom difficulty. So it's recommended for, as it says, players who are new to Diablo, or you want like a light challenge, and it's recommended for levels 1 through 50. And it even gives you enemy details. Enemies are easy to defeat. There's not a lot of information here, but it is what you need to know. So if you just want to, like, I'm new to Diablo in general. Like 4 is going to be my first, but I knew that I didn't want to do it. Like, I didn't want to do like the betas or anything on world tier 1 just because I wanted more of a challenge. But it's okay if you want to be on this world tier. That's why it's here. Okay? Next. Then you get to veteran. Oh, one other thing I want to let you know. You have to be in the same world tier to form a party. So what happens is, if you're not in the same, like, if you want to adjust your world tier at the statue, but you're in a group, then it'll ask people in the group, hey, do you want to go to this world tier? Just to give you a heads up. And it's the statue in Kyovashad that you do this at when you're already in a party. But anyway, okay. So veteran world tier 2. It is recommended for players who desire more of a challenge. Once again, levels 1 through 50. Okay. So let's look at the enemy details. It's giving you a little more information here. The enemies are more challenging, just overall. The monsters give 20% increased experience, and the monsters drop 15% more gold. Okay? So already drastic differences from adventurer tier, aka world tier 1. Let's continue. So let's say you want to go to world tier 3. Well, in order to get to world tier 3, you have to do something called a capstone dungeon. So once you complete the campaign, and it'll it'll allow you to get to the Cathedral of Light capstone dungeon, which is in Kilvashad. Okay, and this is for World Tier 2. So you cannot access this if you're World Tier 1. You have to be on World Tier 2 to do it. You go through the dungeon. Now, it's my understanding that the capstone dungeon is going to be pretty much your preview into the next world tier and how difficult it is. You have to complete that dungeon in order to unlock this world tier. Nightmare World Tier 3. It is recommended for levels 50 through 70. Now, new things. Sacred items and unique items can drop. So now you actually have an RNGesus chance of sacred items and unique items dropping for you. You didn't have that in the previous world tiers. Also, nightmare sigils can drop that unseal nightmare dungeons. These sigils are important because for your Paragon board, you are going to you're gonna need things that drop in the nightmare dungeons to put sockets on your board that will make you stronger, essentially. And if I'm wrong on that, let me know in the comments. But that is my understanding. Also, something called hell tides can appear across Sanctuary. Hell tides are these events where you are going to be able to get some pretty awesome stuff. So yeah, like this is one of the more end gamey things that you can do to beef up your character even more. And champion monsters with damage resistance auras can appear. So there are going to be monsters that have these auras that where your certain types of damage just won't do very much. Those will start showing up. More enemy details. Enemies are more formidable. Monsters give 100% increased experience. 100%. Monsters drop 15% more gold, and then monsters overcome 20% resistance just right off the bat. So this is not including like the monsters with damage resistance auras. Now, let's say you want to get to the highest difficulty, which is Torment tier. That is unlocked by completing the another capstone dungeon, and you have to be on World Tier 3 Nightmare. So both of those things have to be true in order for this to happen. You will unlock World Tier 4. It is recommended for level 70 plus. And ancestral items and new unique items can drop. So not only will you finally get to start seeing ancestral items drop, possibly, if you are favored by RNGesus, then also new unique items that are not available in World Tier 3 Nightmare will start dropping in World Tier 4. Additionally, it says enemies are more fearsome. Monsters give 200% increased experience. Monsters still drop 15% more gold. And monsters overcome 40% of your resistance. Now, there are some things that I'm not sure of, but I'm just going to assume. When it says on each tier, like monsters drop 15% more gold, so I believe that's cumulative. That would make sense to me. And the 15% more gold, like same way. But I do notice that, like, on Nightmare, where it says monsters overcome 20% resistance, and then on Torment, it says monsters overcome 40% resistance. That makes me think that maybe if it's not actually stated there, then that might not be true. We're just going to have to find out. Unless someone definitively knows. And if you do know, let me know in the comments. But anyway, these are the descriptions that were from the server slam right before I went down. Server slam is the closest iteration that we got to play of the game before it actually releases, right? Right. So, the first thing I want to just kind of touch on is that there's no guarantee legendaries will improve. Like, it's just a theory. I don't see anything here that, like, definitively shows that legendaries are gonna improve or drop more or whatever. That's just what is being surmised. So maybe it's legacy knowledge. I don't know. But I haven't seen it written in stone. And I'm purely going by what's here on, like, what we're seeing and what we know from the Server Slam version. Okay, so where the debate has been coming in, and this has been on Reddit and in the Discord, is that people are saying it's more efficient to start with World Tier 1, do the capstone on World Tier 2, and then go into World Tier 3. So they're pretty much saying that there's no reason to do veteran at all. And I've even seen it, like, referred to as a noob trap or whatever. Whatever. Okay. So let's look into the arguments on for both sides, because people have been giving, like, both sides of what they think. So the arguments that are against doing this, meaning do not skip World Tier 2, is, for one, it might be too sudden of an increase from World Tier 1 to World Tier 3 in difficulty, which, by that logic, people who are used to World Tier 1 would also struggle on the capstone dungeon, but hey. But instead of being gradually introduced and already used to, like, the difficulty by playing World Tier 2, the argument there is that it's just going to be too sudden. It's going to be too much of pretty much just dropping you in the pond and saying swim, you know? Two, people are saying you're going to miss out on the money increase. It does state that it's a 15% increase in gold drops, okay? Monsters drop 15% more gold. 3, people are saying that if your build is good enough, then you're going to kill things quickly anyway. So, like, it really won't matter. 4, the glory. People are like, I don't need to go to World Tier 1. What do I need to do that for? Like, that's clearly the easier mode. So why would I do that? I don't need it. Like, there was nothing that made it seem like I needed it. In the other betas, I'm going to be fine. There's no reason. And next, that the leveling will be slower. So they're saying that World Tier 2 will make a lot more sense when you can level past level 20 or past level 25. Just because that was the max that we were, like, 20 and 25 were the maxes we were dealing with, does not mean that that World Tier 2 veteran difficulty will not be useful once we're able to level beyond those. Okay, so those are the bulk of the arguments that are for do not skip World Tier 2. Now, the arguments for skipping World Tier 2 that I've seen most commonly are as follows. First, it's the same loot table from World Tier 1 to World Tier 2. So based on the World Tier descriptions that we went over, this would seem to be the case if we're going strictly based on that. Next, you're going to miss out on killing enemies faster if you just go with World Tier 1, which equates to even more money than the ones offered in World Tier 2, due to more drops and faster killing. So pretty much, like, they're saying that if you're already in World Tier 1, then you're missing out. You're going to be killing things faster. And when you're killing things faster, then you're making money faster. And the amount of money that you'll be making faster by killing things faster is just going to, like, outweigh the 15% more gold that you just get if you just decide to stay on World Tier 2. Another thing is they're saying that you need to skip World Tier 2 because only the monsters experience is increased in World Tier 2, not the event experience and not the quest experience. So the only experience that you're getting, like, an increase for is the one where you kill enemies, and that's it. So people are saying that, it's not worth it. If it's just going to be for the monsters, then I can just kill monsters quicker on World Tier 1, and that'll outweigh the 20% increased experience that you get on World Tier 2. Finally, the last really big argument that I've seen for this is that since you'll be killing things quicker on World Tier 1, you're going to get more loot due to killing more enemies quicker. So that solves your more legendary issue. So, with all of this, here's what I say. And I'm gonna ask Bedtime what he thinks. But I think that from World Tier 1 to 2, 2 is supposed to be for players who desire more of a challenge, and you should be awarded for more of a challenge. That should make it even more worth it to do, not less, So the other thing that came to my mind was that more killing of the enemies is not necessarily going to equate to more legendaries because of RNG. Everyone's RNG is different. Like, for instance, I don't know what it is, but I usually have really, really good RNG. So I was able within the server slam to equip and outfit my barbarian with some really good stuff just by not only putting the time in, but I recognize I got really lucky on drops. Or spending obols, I got real lucky on that too. So there is an element of RNG that cannot be ignored when you're looking into this. So pretty much my idea to make World Tier 2 worth it to do is up the drop rate of legendaries, and there you go. It seems like there's a hole that needs to be filled, at least according to, like, what I believe, where the legendary drop rate should be up a little more. But you have this portion of the community that's like, It's not even worth it to do World Tier 2, and you have all this debate about it. Well, make it worth it to do. That's a very easy way to make it worth it to do. Just up the drop rate of the legendary that you will find in World Tier 2 veteran difficulty. It seems like it would be pretty agreeable to me. And you're rewarding those players who desire more of a challenge by playing on that. There you go. Like, you're rewarded for your challenge. Not only are you getting a little more gold, which people have been debating on if it's even worth it compared to World Tier 1. And not only are you getting more experience, which is going to be valuable once we go past level 25, even, because that's the highest level we were. On top of that, you have a higher chance of finding legendaries. So that's my whole educational section, slash like what I think should be done. Um, Bedtime. How are you feeling about all this?
Um, I think so. It depends on your perspective, right? So when the full game comes out, it's not going to be the same experience as it was during either of the two betas because we'll have access to more of the world, right? But initially, we won't. So when we first start the game, we can't go to like Skalsgen. I forget what it's called, but y'all know what I'm saying. You can't just go over there and go do dungeons and stuff like that. The reason why I mentioned this is because we have the codex, right? So one of the most straightforward ways that you'll be able to get powerful enough to do your capstone dungeon is by going into the dungeons and clearing them so you can fill your codex, and then you can kit out your character to your specification or as much as the codex would allow, so that you can take on tougher content, right? You have to be in veteran in order to do the capstone dungeon for Nightmare. So um the argument for going through the story on adventure is that you would get through it quicker. You would open up the map, and which would give you access to the capstone dungeons, so that I mean not the capstone to the dungeons, so that you can fill
Mhm.
in the codex, so that you can get to your build a little quicker, so you can finish um the capstone dungeon a little quicker, so that you can make it to nightmare quicker and start farming things on the better difficulty where you'll presumably get better drops, right? So I
Right.
think that's the best argument for that. Now, to your point, and if I may play devil's advocate, to your point about hanging out on veteran difficulty and your experience in the beta and how it relates, I would say in the beta, you played on veteran and farmed on veteran to get the obols, to get the legendaries, and so on and so forth. But in this version, would you still farm on veteran when you know that nightmare is right there just so that you could farm again? Like how much do you farm on veteran? Kit out your kit to your specification just so you can clear the capstone, knowing that then your abilities will be under leveled when you get out of the capstone for the new enemies and you'll have to farm it again, but on nightmare. Maybe it would make more sense if you could spend your first 5 hours entering deeply into the campaign, opening up the map, and then spend your next 5 hours, or spend like the next 1 or 2 hours clearing the capstone, then spend the next 3 hours farming in Nightmare, as opposed to starting the game up and spending your first 10 hours doing some combination between some of the story and some farming and all that stuff on veteran, and then like getting your character to an agreeable point and veteran. So if I beeline through the campaign on adventurer in my first 10 hours, I might be able to open up the whole map. Conversely, you on veteran, you may only be able to get to like 80% of the map or 60% of the map, which means that I'm farming now a day ahead of you and I'm a little bit more powerful than you after week one or so on and so forth. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it.
That said, maybe to the point of, and I'm no longer playing devil's advocate, if the drop rate, this is the reason why this is tethered into the drop rate, is because let's say you could play on veteran And in your adventures, it's not unrealistic for you to get a legendary here and there. So that way, naturally, as you're playing the game on veteran, because you will get more experience and you will get more money for playing on veteran, naturally throughout your gameplay experience, maybe by the time you're done the campaign, you have 3 or 4 legendaries, plus whatever codex abilities. So by the time you're done the campaign, even if it did take you like 6 hours, 6, 7 hours, whatever, it didn't make a difference because at the end of those 6, 7 hours, you have the gear that you need to be able to go directly into the capstone dungeon. And instead of like trying to beeline through it on lower diff, you were able to kind of play the game naturally, end up on a higher level, end up having a little more money, still was able to find some legendaries, and still was able to just go bam, bam, beat the game, bam, bam, open up the map, bam, bam, right in the capstone, finished it. Now it's time to farm on nightmare difficulty so that way I can get some gear and I can start trying to prepare to figure out how I can get into torment difficulty. You see what I'm saying? So I think that both perspectives are legit. Perhaps it's optimal to play on adventurer and just open up the map and then just switch it to veteran. Don't forget, just because you start the game on one, don't mean you got to stay stuck on that one.
Right, right, right.
So you could play on adventurer, get through the campaign. There's going to be guaranteed drops in the campaign as we experienced in the beta, and then when you get to the end of the campaign, the whole map is opened up. Switch it to veteran while you're trying to find your gear and do dungeons and stuff like that. Gear up so you can go do the capstone, then go do the capstone. You're the only thing you lose there is that you'd be on a lower level by the time you're done doing all that stuff. But if you feel comfortable playing on veteran and you feel like it's not really slowing you down that much, in my opinion, you might as well just play on veteran. So I don't think based off of the beta, um, the only area that felt like because I played mostly on veteran in the beta. So the only area that felt like it was kind of tanky was Core Dragon, and that's because it was 10 levels over my character. I'm under the impression that Core Dragon wouldn't have felt tanky if I was also on level 30, as nothing else in the game felt overwhelming aside of Ashava. Um, maybe not overwhelming is not the right word, but like significantly stronger than my character. Nothing else in the game
Mhm.
felt significantly stronger than my character. Um, that I was equal level to. The only thing that probably would have is the butcher, but I didn't run into the butcher during the service line. So I think playing it on veteran would be doable, especially for a veteran. But yeah, I think ultimately my final conclusion is that we need to not be so focused on being optimal that we interfere with our enjoyment of the game. Like instead of coming into the game with this ultimate strategy of how you're going to get through the campaign and you know like get to nightmare difficulty, get through the capstone, all this stuff. Understand, understand this. Take this, let this hit your soul. Your favorite creator that you're keeping up with, that's gonna play the game like damn near 24 hours a day, is gonna smoke you anyway. So if you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, you're just gonna interfere with your own enjoyment. At the end of the day, those people can't come play your game for you. If you are beelining through Adventurer, so you don't enjoy the whole early game that Blizzard has tried so hard to kind of make cool, continue their story, etc. If that's something that you care about and you're gonna sacrifice it for the sake of being optimal, then that's not what's best for you. Like, think about what's best for you and then make your decision from there. Me, I'll most likely just play the damn thing on veteran unless I feel like the difference is so marginal or it's bogging me down. If I feel like it's bogging me down, then I'm probably just gonna put it in adventure because my main objective is to get to the customization. I want to be able to find abilities that I can tinker around with and try different builds, stuff like that. So I know that's where the bulk of my enjoyment will be, followed by the campaign and the environment, the music, and all that other stuff. I don't really want to beeline through any of that because I want to take in the music. I want to take in the environment. I want to take in the bosses and what they're saying and the voice lines and the
Mhm.
delivery and all of that stuff. But some people just want to hurry up and get to the end game. And oftentimes in these games, when you arrive at the end game and you get everything that you want, you start to slow down. That's the reason why seasons exist. So why would I be in a rush to tax myself out of the enjoyment? I'm already going to be splitting playtime with Street Fighter as it is. So I want to enjoy my Diablo time. I want to put my headphones on and really immerse myself. So I'm not in a rush. I'm gonna catch up. I'm gonna be strong. Um, I don't see a reason to rush. I don't think Blizzard's giving us a reason to be like, hey, in the first week, there's gonna be this one boss somewhere in the middle, and if you don't kill it, then you suck, and you're never gonna get this cool thing. Like, no, I haven't heard anything like that. It's not like the server slam where it's like, you got one day to prepare, then we're gonna give you a Shava. You got one day after that to beat it, and if you don't beat it, you don't get the award. I don't see anything like that going on. So I don't see why we should be putting that pressure on ourselves. Not everybody is meant to be super omega optimal at all times. And also, it's not a competition, man. Like, you're not going to be on stage playing against Daigo, trying to get the fastest Shava clear, um, in front of a crowd of hundreds of screaming and adoring fans. Like, it's not going to happen. You're this Diablo. You're in there by yourself and with your homies. You don't want to smoke your homies and become too strong that they can't enjoy the game when you're playing together. You want to play like, I mean, nice level even with your homies or your alliance or whatever the case. You want to remain serviceable and like get some fun times in, get some memories in. You know what I'm saying? Like, enjoy the damn game and people. Anyways, that's my stance. That's my stance. Ultimately, figure out how you want to enjoy this game and then lean into that. Like, being optimal and trying to keep up with the Joneses is only going to tax you. If you're quote unquote competitive, I don't know how you could be competitive in Diablo considering there is no stage and money and all this stuff on the line. But if you find some way to look at Diablo in a competitive fashion, then go ahead. Keep up with the Joneses. If that's what you will enjoy, do your thing. You know what I'm saying? Try to be ultimate, omega, strongest on the server, all that good stuff. But you know, to each his own, man. Crunch them numbers, make them spreadsheets so I can copy, and then I can get strong off of all your research.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. So, um, first, if you're trying to be optimal, then the optimization should probably be saved for when the season comes out. Because if you're interested in getting the battle pass, then you're eventually gonna want to get through that as soon as possible anyway. So then this is time to be like, all right, I'm gonna hunker down. I'm gonna do what I need to do to get through this ASAP. Especially if you're one of those people who like might not care about your seasonal character. You just want to get it over with to get the stuff and then get back to the Eternal Realm to like, the character that you favor most. Um Now on for your remark on competitive, there is PvP in the game, so I'm sure there's going to be some people that are, trying to, get their prestige and get their clips and get all that up and running,
All right,
do,
yeah,
do the
that I would
content
say
thing.
let me know when they have a local that you gotta pay like $10 to $20 to get in, and a regional and a global and Diablo PvP is at Evo and all that other good stuff.
Well, hey, you never know. It might be at BlizzCon. but but here, like inevitably my final conclusion is um I think I'm just gonna do it on. I'm probably also just gonna play on veteran. Like, I haven't experienced anything to deter me from that. And like, if I that's the reason, like, if anything deters me, then that is the reason why there is an option to decrease the difficulty. Um, Whether it's for efficiency or maybe something is found or whatever it might be, like at the end of the day, it's going to be possible to switch. So there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm still just saying, hey Blizzard, if you want to solve a few issues, because I know there's a lot of people that are not saying, what they might be thinking, which is the legendary drop rates stink. Then you could just put it on veteran, give those players who desire that challenge right out the gate, with the highest difficulty right out the gate, the one you're able to actually access right out the gate, reward them a little more, and then, you're good. That's what I'm saying. But me personally, I'm probably just going to play veteran and go from there. Um, yeah. So, anyway, BTB, you got any more to add to this discussion?
Nope, I am Gucci. Good.
Okay. Well, I am done as well. So let us know what you think. Definitely leave us some comments, like, comment, subscribe. Hope you enjoyed this, and we will check you out on the next video. All right. Take care. Bye.